So, welcome everyone to the Sugar Detox Challenge. We are so excited to have you here. And as I mentioned, Az and I have just been talking about this challenge every single day, and we've been just counting down for you to all be here and join us. And we are going around and doing introductions, but definitely just light up the chat. Okay. Let us know where you're from, your name, and what you plan on getting out of this challenge, because what we want is for us to kind of track where we started from and where, how we feel by the end of it. So as I mentioned, my name is Jeannie Aegis, and I'm a certified holistic health, life, mind, and body practitioner and the founder of Self-Care Journey Holistic Wellness. And I help women get to the root of their symptoms so that they could restore balance and build a strong mind, body, and healthy lifestyle. And I have been featured in a number of publications, as I said, on things like women's health, self-care, and designing a lifestyle that you love. I'm also a mom of 2 rambunctious toddlers. Next. Over to you.
Awesome. Hello, ladies. So my name is Naz Grimley, and my mother-in-law is actually in there. Her name is Shelly. She's right there. And she's in our cabin right now in Canada. Hello. Okay. So I am a certified holistic nutrition and self-care coach. So I empower women who are struggling with their weight and what they eat in order to feel confident in their body, find sustainable movements that they love. So you want to wake up and be excited about working out, about your movement. It's not just about doing exercises, but just really not having to overthink about what I should be eating, what I should be, doing. Am I working out enough? Am I eating, food that will make me lose weight, but I don't really like it? But also help them discover their internal alignment and connection through their bio-individual primary food. Primary food are the foods that are beyond your plate, so that's like your stress, your sleep, your home cooking, relationships, career, your finance, your gut health, and more. So healing the nutrition that is beyond your plate will eventually lead you to a healthy life and sustainable lifestyle that you will love without the restrictive diets and the bad diets. So yeah. So that's what I do. And I am really happy and excited to be one of the hosts for this challenge, because we've been talking about this for a while and we talk about it every single day. Like, what can we do? What more can we give? So make sure to grab your journal and a pen today, because I've seen this presentation and it is super valuable because, I don't know what else to say, but I'm so excited.
Thank you, Naz. Okay. So what do you expect basically? What do they get?
So Coach Catalyst. So that is my coach app that you all, I think, yes, all of you have it. And what are you going to be receiving here? If you don't know yet, every single day for 21 days, you will have a lesson to read. So this is added value. Will have information for you to keep forever. So I would actually copy that and put that in a Word document and keep that forever, because you're going to use that forever. There's so many lessons to learn there, not just on food, but also overall, and how your stress and sleep and everything really affects the way you crave for sugar. Another thing is, of course, the Facebook community, and I'm just going to run through. Yes, all of you are there as well. We're just missing one lady, but she doesn't have a Facebook page, but that's okay. Another thing in the Coach Catalyst app, there is the group chat there, and I see some of you already are active there, so super awesome. Keep sharing pictures of your meals on the Facebook group or on the group chat in the Coach Catalyst, just so that we can keep each other motivated. And every single day as well, we will be sending you messages on what to look out for, and ask you questions to keep you accountable. Like today, like what's for supper today, or what did you have for a snack yesterday? And we will ask more and more questions, but not only food, but also your sleep, and like what I mentioned earlier, the primary food. And then there's the workbook that Jeannie and I put together. And that is something very useful. Like a lot of people they put aside planning. They put aside the food planning, they put it aside and like, oh, it'll be fine. I know what to do. It's okay. But life happens. So when you start journaling, your plans and how you feel after you eat your food, you will now see a pattern. You will then realize, oh, maybe because I'm not sleeping well and then I'm craving sugar. So now I know what's the reason of my craving. So when you journal, you find out you find the patterns, you find ways that you can improve your eating habits. And then there's the recipe book that Gina and I put together as well. It's filled with yummy ingredients. Now, if you are looking for something more different, just post it in the group and we will be sharing different kinds of recipes as well. So don't worry about that. If you love ice cream like I do, don't worry. Jeannie and I have like over 10 recipes for that. So don't worry. We have like a lot that doesn't have sugar. So you can message me on that. We make it every single week and we can't get enough of the peach ice cream. So that's the one I put in the recipe book. You'll love that. And then other resources. So throughout the week, throughout this 3 weeks, you will receive handouts here and there. Like if you go to the Coach Catalyst app, you head to the little on the bottom, there's there's the communities, there's the messages, there's the daily tasks. And then the very last one says resources. So click on that. And then there's a folder there that says 21-day sugar detox challenge. And there you will find today, there is already the what to eat when you're out. So we have you covered for that because life happens, right? So Gina and I put that together and it's your guide for when you are out in the restaurants. Like, oops, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sugar detox, but I want to go out. So you have this list for you. Yeah, but if there's anything else if you have any questions, all you have to do is just send us a message and we will answer you right away. You can put it in the group as well. So maybe, other women have the same questions, but we're here to support you. So make sure you take advantage of this because we're giving you like 100% of our time and we want you to succeed on this. So it takes 10 days. 10 days. The first 10 days will be very difficult, but if you remove sugar for the first 10 days, it will just flow for the next. So make sure you try, make sure you put, make sure you check your calendar because Jeannie has sent out the invites for the next workshops. Make sure you mark your calendar for that as well. It's nice so that you can ask us questions or be, hot seat, whatever you need, we will ask, but otherwise it will be recorded anyway for you to watch whenever you're free. So yeah, I think did I cover everything?
Yeah, no, you did. That's awesome. Yeah. And definitely I wanted to add just, the system's not going to work. You don't work the system. So definitely take advantage of the next 3 weeks and just utilize all the resources and this community and the support so that in case anything comes up, you can just pop it in the chat, message one of us, anything, or if whatever you're thinking, sometimes people are also thinking the same thing. So definitely want to increase that. And I know that for the first day, as we're getting to know each other, people might be a little bit, shy, but I hope that we get like all of us kind of, sending our pictures of what we're eating or something like that to keep each other motivated. So I just want to go through kind of like the main pillars of the challenge and what to expect. So we are going to focus on 3 main pillars. And for today, we're going to be talking about releasing and detoxing. And that's going to be led by me. And we're going to be talking about releasing old habits, thoughts, and really breaking up with sugar. Pillar 2 is led by Naz, and she's going to talk about nourish and replenish. So she's going to share how to eat mindfully, understand the ways to nourish your body that feels good to you. And then coming back to pillar 3, that's going to be week 2. We're going to be doing rebalance and reset. So this will be very lifestyle focused, and we're going to hit the reset button, really restore our balance into our life effortlessly, right? Oftentimes we think of detox and it scares people away. And so I just want you to understand that we don't believe in like all or nothing. We definitely want to build these sustainable changes, and we will also talk about the other areas of our life to build a holistic lifestyle so that we can keep going after the 21 days. And then we've added a couple of bonus sessions. So we're doing a sustainable weight loss by Naz, and she's going to talk about releasing weight effortlessly by aligning your values with your plate and beyond. I'm so excited for that one. And then finally, our last session is going to be a wrap up, and we're going to reverse engineer your health goals and what the next version of you, what the 2.0 after you come out of this program, what's next? How do you maintain it? Do you, you're going to be a lot different after 3 weeks, right? And the person who got you here is not going to be the person who's going to get you who's going to be at the end of the transformation. So there may be a couple of reasons why you're here. Naz, if anything comes up in the chat, if we have any questions, unmute and let me know, because I can't see the chat right now. So there might be some reasons why you're here, right? So a couple of whys may come to mind, and maybe put in the chat whether you're one or all of these, right? It's so important for us to understand why we're here, right? Aside from maybe people might thinking, I just want to lose weight, because there's so much more to this than that. And the first one being to regulate your blood sugar levels and body fat, right? So changing your food during this challenge, it's going to help you regulate that blood sugar, especially if it goes up and down every single time you eat something that causes it to spike and then go down. And that will cause your energy to drop, right? So this is jump-starting that process where we're going to even everything out. And the byproduct of it is you're going to have, healthy fat loss because of it. Why number 2, we want to crush your cravings, right? When you begin eating differently every single day, you begin to change your palate. The things that, you used to crave, you may find that you crave them less. And by avoiding certain things, you're going to be introducing a new palate to your mouth. And I think that you're going to learn to appreciate how food truly tastes like. Why number 3, you want to reduce inflammation in your body, right? Our body is sugar causes a lot of inflammation, and a lot of things come up, and our body speaks to us all the time. It communicates, it plays a huge part in, if you're feeling inflamed, maybe joints hurting, or just not feeling 100%. So over consumption of sugar can definitely do that and put your body in a state of stress. And then finally, why number 1 is you're here because you want to create a lifelong healthy habits. You know what I mean? It's not going to be something where you just want to do it for 3 weeks and that's it. But this is going to jumpstart you to wanting to continue this because you believe that this is the way to live. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm just going to stop the share for a second. Okay, I'm just going to see if there's anything in the chat. Does anyone have questions?
Amy said that all of it applies to her. All the whys applies to her. So
yeah, totally. I'm just gonna pull it up. Go ahead.
Can I ask something? You're meaning to say that never again any cakes, never again any sweets. I don't think it's really possible. I don't think I'm that strong. I'm willing really to do something, but to change lifestyle really totally, it depends on how you live your life, how is your day, and how is your daily normal procedure, which you have to go through and you cannot change it.
Absolutely.
I think sometimes you cannot help it just by grabbing something, or you always have to really be so tough on yourself to keep on doing this forever. I don't know. I'm not in the position to promise myself that I will never eat any kind of piece of cake or any chocolate bar ever again. I don't think that's really possible. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but for me, I can say I don't think I'm that strong.
And we definitely don't want you to feel like it's very restrictive, because that mentality might make you actually want sweets even more, right? If you know that you can't have something, that's going to make you actually want it more. And the goal of these next 3 weeks is to really train your palate so that you want it less, so that it's not
less
uncontrollable.
okay.
Yes. I mean, this lifestyle has to work for you at the end of the day.
I'd really like to know from you guys, Nasra and Jeannie, do you really resist any kind of sweets at all? I cannot believe it.
No, Jamie and Shelly can tell you how much I love ice cream. But I am much more stronger than that. So I would know that if I have ice cream, I know that I'll have a tummy ache the next day, or I'll be bloated, or I know what it will do to me. So I'm not going to have ice cream like every day. I'd have a small size. What I would normally do, I'd have it Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then maybe even Sunday night. I used to do that. And because I have no control, but now I know I don't call it a cheat meal. I would call it like a refuel kind of, like a little happy moment kind of thing, but not the only happy moment. But so I would have it on Thursday night with Jamie, actually, when Jamie comes by and we're like, okay, we're going to have some ice cream, but except now, because last weekend when we were watching a movie, we didn't have any ice cream. It's very different. But it didn't hurt me. And I know the next day I'll feel good. And I know that after 3 weeks, I can have, acai bowl. And I know that after 3 weeks that I will be able to still have one ice cream a week. And I'm happy with that. But what changed a lot is that my pantry will look so much different. If you clean up the pantry and you start changing your palate, so it's not your regular sugar detox, like when we ask you to, exclude the fruits, exclude this and that, no honey at all. You can have fruits because fruits are good for you. It's not that. What we're trying to do here is to basically educate you and let you understand what processed food in general, not just sugar, but all the processed, what it body and how you react to it and how we relate on it. And it's crazy how much how much attention we put to it. Once you have, all of it is connected. So when you have, you have something for breakfast that is processed, you have, a pancake that has, half a cup of sugar, and then you have your tea with sugar again. What it does, it will ask you to get more, but you will get more information about this in details. So today, actually, you'll have some, and then on Thursday, I will also share how to nourish, and then another very amazing topic will be what Jeannie's going to do. What Jeannie's going to lead next week is on your sleep, your stress. All of that is very important. Yeah, what causes?
Thank you for explanation. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Up to you, Jeannie. Also, Shelly also said all the above applies to her. All of the whys. Good thing you guys signed up for this challenge. Wow.
I'm just going to blur my background for 1 second. My kid's coming through. Okay. With the Zoom world, I don't have the luxury of having a wall behind me. Okay, so everything is just open space. Okay, so this is real life. So don't expect perfection. We're not going to get that here, even off the bat as we started. Things happen and it's going to happen. So it's just life. Okay. So yeah, and just to answer your question, Shelly, I definitely do eat sweets. I just make tweaks to certain things, right? So 100% I do definitely eat sweets, but this lesson will really empower you to make a decision in terms of how you see sugar as well. So I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully I'll share the right one this time. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so again, goal of this workshop, we want to release old thoughts, habits, beliefs that no longer serve you. And we want to guide you to detox from consuming the added sugar, okay? Curb your sugar cravings and really improve your overall health. So on a scale from 1 to 10, all right, I want you to put in the chat, 1 being you're cool as a cucumber around sweets or anything sugary, or 10 being you can't stop thinking about it, you're a sugar fiend. What do you think you range on in that scale? Go ahead and pop it in the chat.
Okay, Yashika says 6 and Janine says 7. Janine also mentioned earlier that for the challenge, she is hoping to change her lifestyle and lower her sugar levels.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're here then. That's amazing.
Kelly says 6 and 7. So we are in the ranges of 6 and 7s here.
Okay, so you're like right there. Okay, so you're not at 10. Okay, so a good question to really ask is how much is too much? And really, the average person consumes more than 57 pounds of added sugar each year. That's 17 teaspoons, 71 grams every single day. And that's 3 times the recommended amount, right? And the World Heart Organization and Heart Association recommended not eating more than 6 teaspoons, which is 24 grams for a woman, right? So it's not that we can't have sugar. It's that sometimes we have too much sugar and too much of the wrong sugar, the added sugar. So if you're feeling kind of like off, with your mood, if you're feeling like you're having a hard time with your stress levels, if maybe you're feeling just like really sad or low, you're feeling withdrawal, you feel that inflammation, like any of the above, or maybe you have like, acne or eczema, something like that. Sugar is likely the culprit. And we don't want to admit that, right? We don't want to admit that might be, the culprit, but one way or another, depending on what you consume day to day, it may have something to do with it. But I want to share with you truth about sugar cravings, okay? It's not your fault. So let's just put all the guilt or shame or anything that any situation where you felt like, oh, I should have done better. Why? I said I wasn't going to do this. And here I am just stuffing my face with Oreos or something. So I just want to share with you that it is not your fault. We were programmed, from years of evolution with our ancestors who craved and wanted sugar, and it's also hard to escape because there's so many pseudonames for sugar. And it's hard, right? We're just looking for the fact that there's no sugar, maybe how much sugar, and we don't really look at the ingredients. We don't really know what they're called. And even if we do see them, we don't really know enough about them, right? So the thing about this is the marketers, the food engineers, they actually use small amounts of sugar hidden in processed food to trigger a person to eat more than their serving size. Okay, so the advertisement, with Pringles, once you stop, you can't stop. They mean it, right? That is all meant to happen. And advertising, engineers, all that stuff, they want you to continue to consume because they want to continue to make money. And marketing is so good at manipulating kids. I can't tell you, when I was younger, Fruit Loops and Cocoa Puffs and all these different things for my breakfast, that was what I loved. And I'm sure commercials has something to do with it. And then I would ask my parents for it. But what happens is when you consume sugar, the brain will create a pleasure, right? With the reward center of your brain with dopamine, right? That feel good hormone. So that's why, the affected part of your brain will want you to give up, go back to sugar and processed food, right? Sugar is like an abusive lover. It will make promises to be different this time, but you will only get worse if you go back. But I definitely know that you can do this. Whatever stage you're in right now, Naz and I want you to feel comfortable knowing that you're going to walk out wanting to crave less sugar. Okay. So we're not saying, okay, completely abandon sugar after 3 weeks, but definitely having this information helps. It affects your brain in more levels than one. Okay. So in a way, it is just like a drug. It, deals with your brainstem that is responsible for your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure. It deals with the limbic system, which has to do with the fight or flight and the hunger and the feel-good chemical dopamine I just talked about, right? Where it's released in response to a trigger, which could be eating, something that, might link you to want to have more, to constantly chase this reward with the following consequences, right? So continuing to eat even when you don't want to, neglecting responsibilities in order to eat, trying to cut down or stop eating sugar and processed food without any success, right? And we think about food constantly. And this is where kind of the emotional eating or the binge eating may come through, right? So if your cue or a trigger, right, when you like stress, for example, from work occurs, we associate that emotion with something negative, and that affects our brain, and we then tie that into seeking the reward, seeking the feel-good hormone, seeking more sugar. The emotional side, as I mentioned, right? There's a whole process in terms of how our mind works, okay? So there's a cue or a trigger that could be you're done work and you've just had a really long day and you just want to unwind. You had a tough day with your boss. A negative effect may be tied to that cue, right? Where, because it's such a hard day or because you don't want to think about work anymore, a previous experience that is attached to it. But, as humans, we may not always be equipped with the tools to handle that emotion, right? A lot of us we're not aware, we don't self-regulate. So it leads us to want to either go on a diet, or have a eating belief that was previously conditioned and was a habit that you didn't even realize, right? So having that frozen yogurt every single night because that's what you do. That's what you do after work and what you've been doing for so long without even realizing it. And that's why binge eating and consuming sugar and all that is so hard to stop. There is a way around it, right? There is a way where we can change things around. We can change our cue, change the habit around it, and also, avoid the consequence. And cue could be internal or external, right? So you could feel if it's internal, it's like you feel a particular emotion, something like a smell or something makes you feel something, right? And external could be just going to the grocery store hungry and you're in the wrong aisles at the wrong time. And then it causes you to want to purchase it. And then, you get it and then you eat it and then things happen, right? I want you to take a deep breath, okay? And I want you to release that negative self-talk, okay? Before we even talk about detoxing, I want you to release that voice that's inside of you that says, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I've been eating so much. I have to cut down. What is wrong with me? I cannot stop eating even though I want to. We all as humans know what to do, right? We know what is healthy, what is not. For some reason, they just can't get off that vicious cycle. And it's a matter of just putting, hacks, strategies in place, right? Because it's not your fault. They want the advertisers want you to consume more, and they will do anything possible to do that. So when you're in that cycle, you're not aware that you're in that cycle. And we want you to be aware that you're in that cycle so that you can be prepared and change your triggers. So also, this might lead to self-sabotage, right? We might, we might stay up late because we're consuming sugar, right? Stress is a huge component of it. We may be eating sugar because of fear of missing out, right? You're at a party, everyone, there's free food in front of you, right? So it's free, why not, right? It's right in front of you. Or maybe you have difficulty saying no, right? Like, let me know, like, let us know whether any of these like apply to you, whether that's the reason why it's so much more harder, right? A lot of like the holidays are coming up, right? A lot of things are going to happen, and you're going to get people that are going to make awesome treats, and they're going to be like, you should have some, you should have some, you should have some, which is great. So we're not saying like you can't say, you have to say no to everything, but at the same time, you have to understand where that is coming from, whether you actually want to eat it or whether you're afraid of saying no, or whether it's because of stress. You know, you're tired and you didn't have time to meal prep. So now you're just eating and scarfing down whatever's in front of you, right? So it's really important to understand where it's coming from so that we can release it, we can park it, and we can find ways so that we can overcome it. There may be a few roadblocks that are going to come into play when you're starting a detox or a challenge or a new program or anything like that. Okay. And I find that these are the three, pretty common ones that come up, with my clients and Naz's clients. Sometimes we feel like, we don't have enough support, right? Whether they feel like, it seems like a very daunting task or a daunting goal. I don't know if I could do it by myself. Or the fact that you don't have the support that you need. Right? Maybe your husband or your significant other, your partner, whoever's home with your family is not on board. They want to do whatever they want to do, and you're left to do this alone. Maybe you just need more support. Other people's thoughts and feelings is roadblock number 2. Maybe you're worried about what other people may say, may think, right? How, you respond with coworkers or friends who maybe you don't want to drink at a social event and you don't want people to, push things on you, or, maybe not socialize with you as much because they perceive you a certain way. Or lastly, roadblock number 3, fear of failing, right? Fear of failing it's probably a very common reason why people don't do what they do or are afraid to kind of take that leap of faith. We all have those, previous experiences that have happened, and they're in our subconscious mind. They're in the back of our mind, not at the forefront, but they are literally controlling our actions and every single move. So when you're thinking to yourself, what if I don't follow through? In the past, something may have happened where that was the case. And so now you are basically taking a blanket over all your next experiences, and it makes it harder because then you're going to put that energy forth, right? It's almost like you're setting yourself like a safety net because you are going to fail. And that is absolutely not the way to think about this, right? Or like, what if I lack discipline or willpower, right? What if I fail? So I want to just address one more thing about this slide, okay? First of all, support piece, you got us right here, okay? This community, the support, accountability, you have it right here. Number 2, other people's thoughts and opinions are not yours. It is your life. You're in control. It is your responsibility to live the life that you want, to feel the way that you want. It's not them. They go home, they do them, you do you. Okay, keep the focus on you. And then fear of failing is flip the script around, right? Like, what if you succeed? I think oftentimes we think, what if we, and then something negative. Flip the script around. What if, insert something positive that's going to happen, right? Like, why can't we just flip that script around? If I were to get sciencey here, right? It all has to kind of do with insulin. So it's tied to, certain risk factors that happen when we don't get certain nutrients that we need, or we're consuming too much sugar, right? Insulin is a hormone. It plays a huge part in what happens when we consume sugar. Okay. It delivers glucose into the blood, into the cells. It then causes our body to want to produce more insulin to balance it out. And it has been linked to, being overweight, being obese, lack of exercise, someone who has high blood pressure. illnesses, inflammations, but there is a way around it so that we can prevent it, so that we can produce less insulin, right? We need it. Maybe we don't produce as much. We don't overwork, our organs trying to produce it. And we know how to, metabolize it, right? More on this in pillar 3, but it has to do with your lifestyle. It has to do with making those lifestyle changes, right? Creating a heart healthy diet, being active and having movement that you love, reducing your stress, and getting that really good quality sleep every single night. So just so that you have a picture, when you eat, your blood sugar level rise, more insulin is released, cells resist insulin, sugar stores as fat, and then we feel tired and hungry, and then the cycle continues again. So what we can do as a first line of defense is to remove the temptation. The temptation would be the cue that you see, the cue that that's all around you, right? So remove as many items from your surrounding as possible. So Naz has posted in the group, take a look at your kitchen, take a look at your pantry. What are some things that you know for certain that are going to tempt you, where once it's in front of you, it's hard. It's like literally calling your name, right? Read the nutrition labels of all the packaged goods and choose products that are low or no added sugars, right? And then again, do the kitchen audit. Don't drink your calories. A lot of us, swing by Starbucks, we get that like pumpkin latte, and we don't realize how much sugar is added to those drinks. And before you know it, you've already consumed more than your daily dose or servings of sugar. And then lastly, of course, minimize stress eating, being mindful of your eating, meditating, moving your body, and all of those come into play when we're building a healthy lifestyle. And when we're choosing things, it is very important to kind of choose things that have a low glycemic level, right? This is how fast our body converts insulin and how it converts it into energy. So we want to make sure that when we are consuming things and we're building that plate, we want things that keep us fuller longer. And the higher, as you can tell, the higher the glycemic index is, the harder it is or faster it's going to digest it, which is going to cause you to want to eat more. So we want to consume things that are going to keep your blood sugar levels stable. It's not going to spike it, right? It's not going to be high on the GI list and will keep you fuller longer, right? So rule of thumb, if you were to build out a plate, focus more on the low to medium, because then when you do that, you are also removing those temptations. You're preparing yourself. You're not going in to fight and flight, which is what happens when you're in that hungry mode, and you're relying on willpower, but you're hungry, right? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win when that happens? When you're relying on willpower alone and you're hungry, it's hard. It's absolutely hard, and it's human nature. You can find your GI score by the color, right? So foods that tend to be on the whiter side tend to have a higher GI. Foods that are high in fiber, they're really, good in terms of like seeing if they are high on the GI or low on the GI in general, because it takes longer to digest. And protein. I cannot stress this enough. And Naz is going to talk more about building your plate and all the things that we need to nourish. But high protein foods are typically low on the GI side. So that's why we want to have protein at every single meal and to make sure that we're getting that all in. All right. I'm just going to check the chat. I want to make sure that there's no questions or anything. I haven't lost you. All right. Okay. Naz has everything under control. Okay. So now I'm going to share with you the detox. Okay. So we kind of went through the emotional side of things, which is bound to happen, right? We want to make sure that we are self-aware of how we feel, what happens when we come across sugar, added sugar, drop any self-sabotage, release all that negative self-talk, because now we know it's not your fault. Now we know that you're under someone else's, power when you consume sugar. So what we can do now is talk about the detox, the things that we want you to consume, less, or if not like at all, the next 3 weeks. And we are right there with you. Okay. So don't be scared of this list. We are going to talk about it. We are going to have strategies around it. But when we're going through this list, I want you to take a look at your kitchen, your fridge, your pantry, certain things that you have, and see if you have those in your kitchen right now. You can literally start to remove the temptation, or even hide it somewhere else during these next 3 weeks, right? Or whoever's eating it, say, don't eat it in front of me. At least the first week, the first little bit, right? So these are, at a very high level, we're talking about like sugar, any sweetener, any artificial sweetener, like stevia, equal, even the natural sugars like monk fruit, and then highly processed foods, right? So anything like pizza, anything like, driving by McDonald's would probably not be a good idea, right? During this time, any refined flours or grains, any vegetable oils, right? If we're going to stick to oils, we want to stick to coconut oil, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, and then also alcohol. Alcohol, I know that, holidays coming up, and alcohol is something that's maybe hard to resist, right? But in this next 3 weeks, plan around to see if there are ways that you can not consume alcohol for the next 3 weeks, right? If that's something that you can do, and ask yourself whether you can and why not. Why, like, what got you to the point where you feel like you can't say no to certain things? Reduce fat or sweetened dairy and soy. Does this list like shock anyone? Does it like, oh, I know this, but I don't know how to do it? It's hard. I get that, because, there's sugar in everything. And if we look at the back of our packaging, I don't have anything around me right now, but, there's natural sweeteners. There's all these different, look at all these different natural sweeteners alone. Okay. So these are things that, like, if after the challenge is over, we definitely want you to introduce these, but limit them. The other category, right, is the naturally derived sweeteners, right? These are the ones that are, like the high fructose corn syrup, the maltose, all those things are ending in OL. And all the artificial sweeteners are reasons why the reason why is because it is on your palate. When you're consuming artificial sweeteners, or even monk fruit and all that stuff, because monk fruit is what I recommend to my clients, is the fact that you have that sugary taste in your mouth, which is really going to want you crave more. You're so used to it that you're chasing that taste again. So if we, wean off of artificial sweeteners, that will also reduce any cravings and temptations that we're going to have moving forward. This is a list that will include, right, to let you know all the different, ways that sugar is hidden, that we may not know of, that we may not even look out for. And then this is the list to moderate. Okay, so your caffeine, right? We definitely don't add sugar. Don't go to like get the lattes. Like you're able to consume caffeine, but stick to not putting added sugars into it. Dairy is another one where we're not saying that you shouldn't have it, because dairy is typically very inflammatory in terms of our body. So you can moderate it, right? Depending on, or make healthier swaps. Whole food carb sources, right? So fruit, definitely you can have that, right? Maybe choose them on like the lower GI list and low to the medium GI list in terms of fruits, and even chocolate, right? Just choose ones that are like 80% and up in terms of chocolate, so that you're it's not that as sweet, and it satisfies your craving without you wanting to have more sugar. Here are some simple swaps that you can make. And of course, Naz is going to go into more things that we can add into into this list. Things like bread, right? Instead of having like a burger, we can make a simple swap, right? We can use lettuce for lettuce wraps. You know, my husband and I have been doing that a lot. We've been making swaps like that, which has been really delicious. We've been turning our pasta, right, into maybe zoodles, right? Just throwing something, you know, that is different for also our kids to have, so that they can also eat, you know, some vegetables, because my kids, as I was saying to Naz, they smell it a mile away and they're already saying no. So I'm just trying to find ways to sneak it in. Crackers, you can get the crackers with the seeds, right? The seed crackers. When it comes to even rice, you know, there's also cauliflower rice. I've made cauliflower pizza before, which is so yummy. And then when it comes to dairy, you know, stick to kind of like the nut dairy ones, like the nut milk, right? The almond milks or cashew milks. Just a few more slides and we're almost done. So the healthy fats, as I mentioned, right, to eat, there's the coconut, the avocado, the nut, all that stuff, which is good to eat. And then the ones that you should look out for, the ones that you should ditch, is more the saturated, the man-made fats, the buttery spreads, the hydrogenated oils. And I was a margarine girl without even realizing that it wasn't good for me. So like all these different things, it's just like, just making those simple swaps didn't really make much of a difference when I moved from margarine to butter. It's just things that just, you know, made a world of a difference to your health. But when it comes to what you eat, it didn't really make that much of a difference. So if you're doing this with us, right, on this challenge, right, I want you to understand for the next, you know, 2 to 6 days, you're gonna feel the detox symptoms. It's gonna feel slightly a little bit like, you know, imagine when, you know, you're trying to give up coffee and, you know, you've been drinking it every single day, you're gonna start to feel withdrawals. You might feel a little bit lightheaded, you might get headaches, you might feel exactly like how you would if you're trying to wean off possibly a drug. Yes, stay hydrated. If you're gonna work out, maybe choose the lower impact workouts, right? And rest, let your body just like really get into this challenge, right? And eat plenty of fats and protein. Last few slides here is tips for success. Okay, here are some best practices from Naz and I for you to take in, right? So that you can really be armed with the tools that you need and the strategies that you need for you to embark this challenge with us. I've mentioned so many times to lean on this community for support and accountability. You know, drink water to help your cravings. Chances are, if you are hungry, sometimes it's because you're dehydrated. And if you're having a hard time drinking water, then have it around you. Buy a huge water bottle. You know, always be reminded of it. Eat protein and fat, right? If you crave a snack, it may be a sign that you're not eating enough protein. Substitute your club soda and lime for alcohol. You can try a peppermint tea, brushing your teeth, eating fermented foods like sauerkraut, going for a walk, or distracting yourself. And again, still got cravings, you can choose dark chocolate. It says 100% here, but like 80% and up, I think is great. Okay, or even cacao powder as well. Also, experiment with a diversity of food, right? So there might be some things in the recipe guide that you're like, I don't know about that, right? But be curious, you know, you never know. You never know. You're like, I don't think I'm going to eat that. But it's good to diversify to see what's out there so that you have more, you know, recipes in your arsenal, right? You know, I don't know what you guys use to warm up your food, but usually like the microwave kind of zaps the nutrients a bit. So definitely I would say use less of the microwave. Plan your meals ahead, batch, and save your leftovers. Okay, if meals is a hard one for you where you're like, I don't have time, and it is when you usually get that craving and you have a hard time saying no to things, it requires you to plan 1 or 2 times a day for an hour where you're planning out your grocery list, you're going to shop, you're literally writing down what you're going to make and then make it and batch cook it, whether it be having a huge salad, whether it be chicken breast, you know, so that you have it ready to go. So when you're hungry, it's like right there, right? Your like next line of defense is right there. And Naz and I are going to give you a, best practices or swaps for alternatives for going to a restaurant, right? Now we're that, everything is lifted, we're back into restaurants again. Some things that we can look out for is looking at the menu, asking for things grilled, boiled, or steamed. And if you really want to, if you go to like a barbecue or something and you really want to, continue this, you bring your own food, bring a cooler of things that maybe you would want to consume a little bit more, and, don't head into anything hungry, right? Eliminate temptation from your environment. So that's where today, as your action work, I want you to remove any temptations from your kitchen, from your pantry. This is how we eliminate the cue that ends up in that cycle, right? We want to be guarded for unguarded moments, right? Again, like if you know that you're going to be at a social event, right? We want to be prepared. We want to be proactive and not reactive, right? Eat enough foods to make it to the next meal. Slow down, handle with care. Okay, track your progress, whether it be like putting your wins in the Facebook group, right? Cheer each other on. Tell us how you're doing, right? Fail forward. Whatever you feel like doesn't work is feedback for you to figure out, okay, because everybody's different at the end of the day, right? Everyone's body's going to react differently to everything, and everyone's situation is a little bit different. So only based on these strategies, what will work for you. And then based on that, you're going to go back and you're going to reflect. You're going to write down what you've been doing so that you can see where are areas where you can make improvements, make adjustments. Okay, that didn't work, so I'm going to try this. Right. And then remember your whys in the very beginning of, this workshop, right? Remember those whys, those strong emotional whys, because that is what's going to help you when things get, kind of like, oh, it's so hard, because it's not easy, but definitely it is worth it. All right. So I'm going to leave it at there. I know that I've said a lot to you. I know that we're over time. I know that we poured out a lot, and Naz has been so great. She's been posting it in the chat. So I'm going to now stop the screen share, and I'm going to open it up for questions for any one of us that you have. Any roadblocks, anything that you feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, still feels hard?
Yeah, I have a question again.
Yeah, of course.
When you say you eat a lot of proteins and more fat, why do I have to eat more fat instead of reducing the fat? Because I'm trying to get rid of fat.
So fat is actually, there's different types of fat. So not all fat is made the same. So there are healthier types of fat. It's probably what I should have said, right? So not just any type of fat, but the healthier fats, like avocado is a really good fat for us to have, right? But in moderation as well. So we'll have half an avocado with maybe your salad or your omelet or whatever dish, that keeps you satiated. And a lot of people avoid fat. They're afraid of fat. They see fat and they run away. And, that's really the diet culture, right? That's really making us not want to eat fat. But in moderation, it's great. And we're supposed to have fat in our plate so that we are fuller longer and is lower on the GI list. So that we're not in that moment where we're hungry and wanting to consume everything in the world.
And I have a question to that book with the recipes. I can see that there's a lot of recipes which don't include any kind of meat or very, very little. So I like to ask, is it bad if then I sometimes add a little bit of chicken to the vegetables or something which isn't fatty? I mean, I don't eat any pork anyway, and I try to eat, rarely I eat a red meat. I mean, something like lamb or any kind of red meat. I avoid as much as possible, but sometimes, like I did yesterday, I don't like tofu, to be honest with you. I really don't like tofu. So I have a problem with this. And I said, instead of eating that, maybe I can add a very low-fat beef mince, but very little, less than usual. and with less oil. Of course, I cook for years and years only with olive oil anyway. So yeah, I want to know, is it okay if to all these nice dishes, which definitely they're lovely, but if one feels like he wants to eat a bit more of meat, is that okay, or we shouldn't?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. So the way that Jeannie and I put together the recipe book is based on gut health. So I've removed a lot of inflammation. We have put together nutrients there that is good for your skin and for your gut health as well, because you want to be able to not only eliminate sugar, but also take care of your gut, which is the command center of our body. But like you mentioned, yes, for sure, you can have chicken breast at night. You know, if it's a salad, if there's tofu there in the recipe, replace that with chicken breast. And it's good that you're cooking with olive oil. I cook with olive oil as well. So that's another good source of fat. Another thing about why eating good fats is very important. So like example, like what Jeannie said, she mentioned avocado. So avocados is very rich in monounsaturated fats. So when you think about it, actually, if you eat like simple carbs, which is your rice, your white pastas, your white bread, that one turns into glucose that goes straight into your bloodstream and then gives your brain a little bit of a confusion that triggers your hormones to start going like, whoa, okay, she's not using this energy though. So where are we gonna put this out? We want more, So a lot of people would have simple carbs in the evening. And then when they have that, the brain gets confused because it's time to move. You've put energy, simple energy into the body. It's time to move. Why are you going to bed? Why are you going to bed? No, we're not doing this. And then when you wake up, your ghrelin and your leptin hormones are like, we need another boost of that. Let's have some more sugar. So it gets confused in your body. It's really confusing. So I would recommend in the evening, like have a lot of nutrients, because your gut is actually not sleeping with you when you're going to bed. So we want to help your gut a little bit when you're sleeping. You want it to sleep with you and maybe relax a little bit, not working and keep digesting while you're resting. So in the evening, maybe, remove the bread, remove white pastas, and maybe go with like a nutrient dense salads with chicken breast or, minced chicken, some avocado besides. But that's a really good point. And I'm going to share a couple more of recipes on with some chicken breast and meat. That's a really good point because I love chicken breast. Aaron, my husband, will not eat only vegetables. So I think it was 3 weeks ago when we went vegetarian for 3 days and he's like, I have a headache now. I'm like, no, you don't. But yes, we love our chicken breast in the evening, and you can definitely swap tofu for that. But yeah, so that's a really good way to think about it.
What about cheese? If I make a salad, can I put something like mozzarella, or this is also not good?
In moderation, there's nothing wrong with that. You can always moderation. We love
because. Because really, I really want to try my best to do the right thing. That's why I'm asking so many questions.
No problem. We love
because, there's so many people who give you lots of advice how you can make diets and stuff. But I never in my life did it come to my mind about sugar, that this will be the key to start. So I'm very happy about it, and I'd like to thank you guys for giving me all of us this lovely information. It's really good. Thank you. I always don't know how to spell your name. Jeannie? No,
Jeannie.
Jeannie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my name's just missing an I, but it's Jeannie. Everyone gets, they say it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, it's really very professional. Thank you very much. It's helpful for me. I don't know about the other ladies, but for me, it was a very good information tonight and makes things more easy for me to continue. And hopefully I might not lose 10 kilo, but maybe at least 5.
But before you guys go, we would love to know what your biggest takeaways are, right? Like what is something that you're going to take away from today's pillar, and what are you going to do to implement it? Because it's one thing for us to provide you with information, it's another thing for you to actually implement it to get you results. So what's a takeaway that you guys can tell us? You can unmute, or you can pop it in the chat.
Because I find it. I cannot tell you last night what happened. I ate very limited yesterday, and I in the middle of night, 3 o'clock, my stomach was like hungry. I said, "Oh my God," and I couldn't sleep. I said, "No, I cannot eat. I cannot eat." So I didn't eat until morning, and in the morning I was hungry like a bear. I was just running to the kitchen, making my oatmeal ready. And yeah, but is this going to be like this for the next 21 days, or this is just the beginning?
We don't want you to consume less. I think the goal is actually we want you to consume more, but of the nutrient dense food and less of the added sugar. So if you're feeling hungry, we want you to put more volume in each of your meals so that you feel satisfied. And if you're hungry, it could be because your plate might not have the things that are dense in terms of keeping you full, right? It might be empty carbs. So it is a good indicator to you that you need to bulk up what you're eating.
Right. Maybe it's because always we have been eating different, more carbohydrates with like potato and stuff. And then I always try to reduce. I don't eat that much. I eat like half or a third of the portion that my boys are eating, for instance. Yeah. So when I eat that, and I was satisfied with that, because if I would eat more, I would be looking like a balloon by now, probably. So I tried to cut down on the amount all these years, but in fact, I gained, So now I'm so used to that style that I thought I have to eat also less on everything, even now. And then I was in the night, I was so hungry, and I said, "Oh my God, how am I going to take this for the 21 days if I'm eating only vegetables and light stuff?" And so that's good to know that I can eat actually more salad, or I can eat more stuff which just fills me up, but I don't have to sleep with a complaining stomach at night. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. And also, if you love avocados, you love your olive oil, so add that to your salad as well. Add some healthy fats into there to keep you, give that, satisfaction to your belly.
Okay.
And yeah. And
then now I begin to understand the strategy.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna starve here. It's not your typical, want you to only do this for 21 days and then forget about it. No, you're going to learn so many things in the next few days of what triggers your cravings as well. So there's so much to learn here, but little by little, we're going to take you step by step to get there. So the best thing you can do to make most of this program is find that accountability while we are here, right? Post pictures of your food and then tell us what it is, ask questions, share how your day is. So that's really good. Like today, like right now, you shared, like you were feeling dizzy and you weren't sure if it was, reducing the actual amount of food. But actually what we're telling you here is increase your nutrients, and you will start feeling good about that. Make sure you have all the balance of all. Focus on complex carbs. So like on the GI, that the glycemic index that Jeannie has just shared there, that's a good way to start looking at things. Have four little meals a day. Like have your breakfast, and then have a snack in between, and then have your lunch, and then your supper. And
yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, have your yogurt. If you love yogurt like me, I love yogurt, or hummus. Hummus is another source of fat. Here in Middle East, we have like all kinds of hummus here. So maybe you can make that there as well. So that kind of food, and you can have celery or cucumber or carrots as a dip. Yeah, there's so many ways you can do it. But I will share. I'm gonna have a little chat with Jeannie, and we're gonna put together a couple of recipes that has chicken breasts at night. So don't worry.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
takeaways too. Awesome takeaways. There were sugar replacements, the club soda, here I come, yes. And then the mindful eating, positive self-talk. I love it. So implementation is key. Post it in the group so that we can keep you accountable. Because sometimes if you don't write it down, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen. Well, Naz and I just want to thank all of you. If you guys don't have any other questions, you know where to find us. And thank you so much for joining us live. And our next session is with the lovely Nash, who's hosting Pillar 2 on what to nourish and replenish. So that's going to be Thursday at 1:30 Eastern time. And Nash, all the other time zones that I don't know about.
I know. I keep getting it confused. Also the PST, because there's PDT and PST. So anyway, I'm just going to go with CST and EST and Oman and Bahrain time, because I know my Aunt Ute knows the time difference of Oman and Germany. So she's very familiar with that. Her son is there. Yeah, awesome. So it will be the same time on Thursday. So that will be 8:30 p.m. for Bahrain, 9:30 p.m. for Oman. So wow, Sherry, who's in Oman, she is tuning in, and it's 10:44 p.m. in Muscat. Wow, awesome. Thank you so much for being here and putting time. It's amazing.